am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live once again from the 704 for the 32nd episode of the 815 Exchange. And ladies and gentlemen, it is March. It is March, and you know what that means. You know what that means. As of now, I need you to go to whatever streaming device you have for music. I need you to type in Future. I need you to type in March Madness, because ladies and gentlemen, it is March Madness time, and it's about to get real chaotic. If this season's college basketball season was any indication, it's going to be a very good tournament, a very entertaining tournament, even though we're missing the element of the crowds and whatnot. And hopefully, even though we had a couple teams, which I'll talk about probably in the next segment here, talk about the teams that did get sniped potentially out of the tournament. We have some situations with COVID. It should be a very entertaining NCAA tournament. But before we get there, of course, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you are enjoying the content and you are liking what you're doing, or you just want to support the cause, support the 815 Exchange, support myself. Feel free to do that. Timestamps, as always, are in the description if you're looking for a particular segment. At the buzzer, soccer, combat sports, whatever. In the description, hit the timestamp. It'll take you straight to it. My social medias, of course, if you want to follow me there. Of course, super active on Twitter. You can go there. It's in the description. And of course, at the end of this video, if you stay till the end. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight to it. Let's not waste any time here. College basketball. And before I talk about the brackets, I haven't filled mine out. I'll be filling mine out probably today after I finish editing and uploading, of course, this video you're watching right now. Let's start off with the conference championships, because we had a lot of great college basketball. The NBA, which I'll get to later on in the show, won the most interesting week. But for college basketball, ladies and gentlemen, this was the week. It was conference championship week. There was great games all week long, some overtime games. If I wanted to make this episode 2 hours long, I could, if I wanted to talk about the semis and the quarters that happened. But we're just going to cut it down to some of the championship games that I saw here. Alabama gets the win here in the SEC championship against LSU, 80-79. That was an incredible game to watch. At the end there, I really thought, Trent Watford did not get the greatest shot over Herb Jones. Shout out to Herb Jones, won SEC Player of the Year. He was a big reason in this game. He had 13, 11, and 6. Also had some great defensive plays, like at the end on Watford. Trent Watford, former 5-star for LSU, sophomore now. He's had 30 points. He's played really well down the stretch here, played really well in the tournaments. But Bama and Jones get it done. At the end there, like I was saying, Watford had forced a 3. They did have a chance on that putback, and it's just kind of unfortunate that it rimmed out. Tough for LSU, tough for those guys. Bama, huge win, huge. Nate Oates. I cannot say enough about what Nate Oates has done with that program. Not that Alabama was ever necessarily, I guess in the modern era, a bad program before Nate Oates, but he's really taken it up to a notch, and they become one of the best teams. And as you saw, the best team in the SEC this year. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do in the tournament. LSU also a very good team, very good team. They could make a run, especially with all the talent on that team. Cam Thomas, Watford, Javonte Smart. There's a lot of guys that can get buckets on that team. Moving on to the Big Ten Championship, ladies and gentlemen, we had Illinois. Illinois gets the win over Ohio State. Dwayne Washington had 33 with 5 threes, but that was not enough for the Buckeyes. They lose to Illinois, I believe, in double OT or in just an OT, excuse me. Another fantastic game. The Big Ten tournament was incredible. Of course, Ohio State knocked off Michigan. Michigan dealing with the injury to Isaiah Livers. It's going to be a big storyline. And it's going to change my mind about where I had them going so far in the tournament. At the end there, I have to say, I don't exactly understand why Michigan did not try to dump it into Dickerson. I feel like that was the obvious choice. Could have won that game. Anyways, they get here to the championship. Illinois, just too much. A great team effort. Of course, Illinois got Static Shock. They got Kofi, Andre Curbelo. The freshman has been phenomenal. Adam Miller even got the start in this game. Illinois is looking very good. I think they're the second best team in the country right now. With all due respect to Baylor, I have Illinois as the second best team in the country right now, and that should probably be an indication of how far I have them going in the tournament. Huge win. They're rightfully and deservingly kings of the Big Ten this season. In the Big 12 championship, we had Texas and Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham has been on fire. He was on fire in this game. Well, especially in that second half. First half wasn't his greatest. Second half, Cade went to work. He had 29, finishes with 5 threes. At the end there, dude was he was unstoppable. It just felt like anything he put up, he was going to make. Impressive stuff from Cade. Again, potentially number 1 overall pick. 1A, 1B with Jalen Green, of course, as I've had it. And that's not going to change, I don't think, unless Cade does something absolutely terrible or JG does something absolutely terrible. But Cade showed out for Oklahoma State. Very high on them heading here into the tournament. Like I said last week, sometimes it's just this one great player on these teams that can really take these teams to the next level, especially here in March. And Cade is a guy on a team like Oklahoma State with other talent. Even though Avery Anderson did not have his best Big 12 game, even though we know what he's capable. Guys like Caleb Boone on that team. OK State, very intriguing team for me. Very intriguing team for me. Huge win for Texas. Matt Coleman had 30. Andrew Jones, always great to see him succeed. Jericho Sims, 21 and 14. He looked like one of the best big men in the country, in my opinion. But yeah, huge win for Texas. Good win in the Big 12 championship. Deserving champions. Georgia Tech advanced due to Duke getting COVID, and of course our season's over, which is fine. And also, let me talk briefly on this. I talked about it on TikTok, but let me talk about it here. I don't know why. I don't really understand why of course I know why, but I don't understand why the media was so insistent on trying to get us into the tournament. We were not deserving. With all respect to our guys, Duke was not deserving of the NCAA tournament. We had no business. I didn't want to be in the tournament. I knew we weren't going to win the championship. Even before the season, I wasn't really expecting a championship from this team because of the makeup of it and the guys, even though we had a high recruiting class or whatever, but these guys weren't the typical 5 stars, that we get. I knew some of these guys were going to be multi-year guys. Plus the COVID situation, not a lot of time. I didn't expect too much from this team. So I didn't really care about being in the NCAA tournament. Here down the stretch, especially when I noticed how not so great we were. Don't know why we were pushed so hard. Don't quite understand that one. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech gets the win here, 80-75. Jose Alvarado with the 5 steals. Dude's a great leader. Moses Wright, ACC Player of the Year. What a story he has. Huge for Georgia Tech. Another team that's going to be very interesting. I'm not quite sure how to feel about them. They could be a surprising, early round exit. Or they could be a team around Wright and Alvarado that could make a run. It's going to be, I'm not quite sure. It kind of depends on matchups, I think, for Georgia Tech. They knock out Florida State, though. Scotty, I think, had a 20-piece. Florida State really has been kind of in the absence of Carolina and Duke. They've kind of taken over as that third team in the ACC that kind of, is very good. However, it wasn't their day. They didn't have it in them. Tough loss for them, deserving to Georgia Tech. Lastly, Georgetown gets a completely out of nowhere win over Creighton, 73-48. What a run by Patrick Ewing. Somehow MSG didn't know who Patrick Ewing is. I don't know. Got stopped by security. That was a big deal. Georgetown, big win for them. This was their only way into the tournament, and they made it happen. So all credit to Georgetown, a heck of a run. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going here in the tournament. And Houston has been one of the hottest teams. I talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago. And it continued with Quinn Grimes and co. They get the win 91-54 over Cincinnati, just completely dominant in those two games. Georgetown was, and so was Houston. Houston looking very good. They're number 2 seed in the tournament. And with that said, let us talk about said tournament. Of course, the number 1 overall seed is Gonzaga, to nobody's surprise. And they're getting the winner of the playing game. Of course, I haven't done my bracket yet. Some things still have to fall in place. Gonzaga will absolutely, probably regardless of matchup, be in my Final Four and probably be my national champion. Corey Kispert, Drew Timme, Jay Ajayi, and of course Jalen Suggs. This team is loaded. This is loaded. And there's more names I could have rattled off. But Gonzaga, absolutely loaded. Mark Few knows exactly what he's doing with that team. And they just look good. It's not just a mid-major thing. They just look like a very, very good team. Iowa is a number 2 seed here. In that same one, going to be very interesting. Of course, they got Luka Garza. That could be another situation. They've been kind of up and down. It's going to be interesting seeing what happens there. Carolina, Wisconsin is the 8-9 matchup in the South. Winner probably going to play Baylor. Baylor's looked a little susceptible. I know a lot of people, we had them for a very long time. Had them in that tier with Gonzaga, but they've had some hiccups here late. They could be suspect here. North Carolina played pretty well here, especially guys like Walker Kessler really starting to grow into the role. It'll be very interesting for them. I do think they probably beat Wisconsin in that first round matchup at the very least. For Villanova, also in that bracket, hate to see it. I absolutely hate that Colin Gillespie got hurt, because that's really hurt that team and what their potential could have been. Similar to a Michigan situation, who are the number 1 seed in the East. But I think in that second round matchup against probably LSU, I might have them on upset alerts. Let's see. In Illinois, another team that I can pretty much put in pin for my Final Four at the very least. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting tournament. Teams like Harvard making their first appearance, which is good, especially after last year. I want to talk about A&T. I hate it. Hometown team 336. My father, of course, is an alumni and works there. He's on staff. Hate that for them that another, just like Kansas, we got that situation also, which is what I was going to branch into. They got knocked out of the MEAC tournament. They were the number 1 seed. Because of COVID, sucks that they didn't get a chance to possibly be here. Kansas, of course, and Virginia are both dealing with COVID issues. I saw Louisville and Colorado State are the top 2 teams. They didn't release 4 teams that are kind of like filling teams because of the situation. That if they have the teams that are in the tournament have COVID issues here in this first round or second round, that will be filling in. I think Louisville and Colorado State are the first 2, so that's something to watch out for. But like I said, should be a good tournament. Lack of blue bloods, but that's cool. I mean, it's a cool thing. You get to see something special. You get to see something different, a different taste. And it should be a very, very entertaining tournament. Of course, I will be tuned in for probably a good portion of these games, if I'm being honest. It's going to be a lot of basketball watching. And of course, we'll be talking about it all the way through here on the 815 Exchange. So we are going to fly over to the Combat Sports World. We had some good stuff happen, even though it wasn't a major week like in 2 weeks from now, I guess next week. Episode 33, we'll be talking about, of course, Stipe versus Nagano 2, Ortega versus Volk. Got some interesting stuff happening there. But for this week, had that UFC event, had a UFC fight night, as it seems we have every single week, which, hey, no complaints for me. Leon Edwards returning against Belal. Muhammad. Kind of tough to really talk about this one because, of course, we had one of the most vicious, the worst eye pokes, probably the worst eye poke I think I've ever seen in MMA. At least on a fight that I was watching. I'm sure there's probably some horrible where some dude's eye got gouged out, but that almost happened here. This was supposed to be on Leon Edwards' big comeback fight, and to be fair, he looked very good in that first round, but that second eye poke that has stopped the fight, I think it was the right decision for no contest. But it puts it in a tough situation because this was supposed to be Leon's comeback. He whoops up on Belal in impressive fashion. He gets the fight against Usman, right? That's what was supposed to happen, but it seems like more likely we're going to have to see him face Colby for him to... I know he's on the big long winning streak or whatever, but it's looking more and more increasing that Leon versus Colby might be the move here, and we just let Usman get Masvidal since they're fighting for that one. Just a tough situation. Happy Bilal's eye, and there wasn't any permanent damage because that could have been really, really bad. Seeing him cry, seeing a man in pain, a fighter in pain, and like that off of an eye poke tells you to how bad that was. If you've ever been scratched on the cornea or just on the eye in general, on your eyelid, you can sympathize and understand the type of pain that is, and how much that can linger for a couple of days, not to mention just the rest of that day. But yeah, unfortunate way to end that card. Kind of a wacky card. Eric Anders gets caught for the same thing as Peter Yan after he made that comment, which was, yeah, it was a up and down card. But yeah, hate to see that for Leon, hate to see that for Belal, of course. We'll see what happens going forward in that welterweight division. Next week, well, I guess this week, this Saturday, we have Kevin Holland taking on Derek Brunson. Holland, of course, 5 fights won last year in a calendar year. It was crazy. He's on the rise in that middleweight division. We'll see if he can keep the momentum going against the unofficial gatekeeper of the middleweight. We'll see if Holland can pass or if Derek Brunson will shut down the hype train. Of course, I'm taking Holland here. I think he's going to rise and show that he's emerging as one of the elite in that division and as a possible contender for Stylebender's crown. In boxing, I haven't gotten to see the fight. I'm going to try to see it. Heard it was a Fight of the Year candidate. We had one of the judges for this fight get suspended, which finally, but Juan Francisco Estrada took on Roman Chocolito Gonzalez. In their rematch, Chocolito won this fight 8 years ago in the first edition. Estrada wins it here. Heard it was a Fight of the Year contender. Heard an incredible amount of strikes. So hopefully at some point in time during the week, if I can get some free time, definitely will try to check it out. Heard it was a very, 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 very good fight. One of the Fight of the Year contenders. So definitely got to check that out. David Benavidez, that super middleweight division, man. That super middleweight division, 168, continues to look very, very, very interesting. Edgar Berlanga, of course, Prospect of the Year by SI last year, one of the rising guys. David Benavidez is a little bit higher than him right now on the developmental curve, of course. Benavidez, only 24. Has looked very good, had an 11th round TKO here against Ronald Ellis. I think it's time to give him some of those guys like a Plant, a Caleb Plant. I think these are the matchups to make. I think he's ready. I think he's ready for showtime. The super middleweight division, definitely one of my, I'd probably put in one of my top 3, top 4 divisions in boxing right now in terms of my interest. Just because the caliber fighters here at the top. And of course, we got the pound for pound king in Canelo. He's taking on BJS. I think next month, or is it in May? It might be around Cinco de Mayo. Might be in May. Probably is in May. Taking on BJS, of course. But yeah, I think Benavidez versus Plant is definitely a matchup to make. 168, heating up. Very interesting stuff. Very, very, very interesting stuff. Now for the entertainment portion, let's go to TV and music. As I did not get to, but I will talk about some movies though. So I guess it's somewhat TV, music, and movies. It's the full entertainment slate, I think, for the week. Starting off with TV, of course. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'll start off not with what I saw. Of course, WandaVision is over, so no WandaVision, sadly. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier will be coming to replace that spot this coming week. Very excited about that. I actually haven't even really watched the trailers. I've seen some of like the teasers. Haven't really watched the full trailer yet. Actually, that's not true. I mean, I guess I've seen like the commercial or whatever, but I haven't seen really the official trailer. But very excited to see what Sam and the Winter and Bucky are doing. and see what they're up to and continue to see the rest of this Marvel Cinematic Universe and what we've missed. But yeah, hopefully it can live up to the standard of WandaVision. Of course, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, two great actors, so expectations high. Expectations are certainly high from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'll definitely be watching that episode as soon as it comes out. Also, ladies and gentlemen, the highly anticipated Justice League, the Snyder Cut, comes out on HBO Max this week. Been waiting for this one for a long time. I didn't hate BVS versus, I didn't hate BVS. Actually, pretty much, you probably could say I like BVS, especially the kind of director's cut of it. Thought it was pretty good. Did not like Justice League at all. I'm not gonna lie, I can't even lie. I wanted so badly. One of the things I said going into that and while I was watching was, man, at least this movie got made. But it was just not a good movie. So hopefully the Snyder Cut, which is basically all new stuff, we can see some redemption here, and we can see it finally given justice. And of course, we're going to get to see Snyder's full vision here of what he wanted his Justice League, not his full slate, but what he wanted this movie to look like. And yeah, very excited, as is pretty much everybody, affiliated or interested into superheroes, or really almost in the movie business. This is highly anticipated. Very excited to see. Going to be very long, so I might even break it up in my own way into like episodes. But yeah, Snyder Cut coming this week. Attack on Titan. There was an earthquake in Japan, I believe. Yes, that's correct. An earthquake in Japan yesterday, so praying for all the victims of that. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. But that cut off part of the Attack on Titan episode, so I can't even really talk about episode 14. Nor am I probably should be talking about episode 14. But then again, it's all over YouTube anyway. Which is how I watched this first half, and which is what I'm going to call the first half of Attack on Titan, episode 14, season 4. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, again, spoiler alert. If you're watching it, just skip ahead. Do what you gotta do. But yeah, episode 14. Once again, we were smoking on that Z pack. Levi gave him the business again. Levi continues to choose violence. I think I tweeted this out. Levi consistently continues to choose violence on Zeke every single episode. Every single time it's come up, he continues to choose violence, and I have to respect it. I have to respect it. Shout out to Levi Ackerman, gave Zeke the work again. Pack that man. I mean, Zeke's nightmares are probably just Levi at this point. What else? That scene, once again, like I talked about last week, that was coming, that I was spoiled on prematurely, of course, was the scene I was talking about at the table there with Eren telling Mikasa, I always hated you. He's gone full heel. He's gone full heel. He's gone full villain. That was the heel turn right there. But I don't think he's as far gone as it seems. I think definitely there's an alternative motive. This is not spoiling anything, I don't think. For the future, I don't think this is included in my spoiled part. Anyways, I think there's definitely an alternative motive there, and I think Eren definitely has a plan of his own, even though he just said, like he said, he's working on his own free will. I think there's definitely a reason, because there's no way you're telling me that this man, I haven't seen the manga, so I've only seen a little bit about chapter 138, so y'all chill with the spoilers. I've been spoiled a little bit on that, but of course I don't think that Eren, I think Eren cares about Armin, and especially cares about Mikasa quite a lot, so I don't really believe him when he says that. However, he's on a mission. The man is on a mission to save the island, to save his people, and that's what we saw in this episode. Zeke's spinal fluid went into effect. We saw what Levi once again had to do. We saw some of their plan come to fruition. We'll see what happens in this last bit of episode 14 whenever it releases. Maybe today, maybe next week, but whatever. Of course, we'll talk about it here. But that was the first half of Attack on Titan. It was a very, very good episode. Probably one of one of the contenders for best episode of the year. So yeah, hopefully we can get the finishing. Hopefully everybody in Japan is okay. In the music business this week, let's see. Brent returned. Brent Faiyaz. Yes. Do can't miss. I'm very, very excited about for whatever upcoming project he wants to release. A change from the more toxic taste of his music usually. Show You Off, just a great track. I don't think he can make bad music, honestly. I do not know if Brent is capable of making bad music, if I'm being completely honest. Show You Off, great again. Paper Soldiers has been, actually all of the three they released earlier in the year on that Dropbox. I've been in rotation for the past, since, but that's a month and a half ago. And they're going to be in it for the foreseeable future. But yeah, Show You Off, more good stuff from Brent. If you haven't listened to it already, go ahead and do that. Giveon dropped All To Me. He combined his last two projects into one. And added this bonus track, so I'll just talk about the bonus track here. Doesn't really Giveon doesn't miss. He does not miss. He just doesn't miss. Just like Brent, he doesn't miss. He continues to make music that is a vibe. All To Me, once again, a vibe. I don't need to say too much. If I say Giveon and if I say Brent on this show, or just in general, if I'm talking to you and I know you personally, just know it's going to be some heat. Just know it's going to be a vibe, okay? Because that's all they do. They don't miss. They really do not miss. In the words of Drake, all hits, no misses. That's for the married folks. Speaking of Drake, apparently, I guess we'll find out today at some point in time, he might do some more record-breaking stuff because, it's Drake. House on Both Coasts, But I Live on the Charts. 1, 2, and 3, which has never been done before. He might debut all three of those songs off of Scary Hours 2 at 1, 2, and 3, which is absolutely ridiculous. But hey, all of it was playing. Didn't miss on Scary Hours 2. Love it. It's been in rotation. And probably my 3 most played songs, if I'm being honest, in the past 2 weeks, for sure. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, that's insanity. Good stuff from Brent and Giveon. Lastly, to wrap up music, Rosé dropped R or slash. I don't even know how to say. You'd probably see it in the thing, right? I'm gonna just call it R. Her solo album, which is 2 songs. I guess including the instrumentals is 4, but we're not gonna count that. Music video for On the Ground was incredibly beautiful. Rosé is incredibly beautiful. I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first. A lot of my friends, it was a very mixed reaction amongst the people I know. A lot of my friends didn't like it. I also had some friends that loved it. On public, I saw some people that were saw some people that loved it. Both songs, that and Gone, I'm Team Gone personally. Gone is an incredible song, absolutely incredible. Even when I heard it at the concert, I was like, yo, this is dope, but the studio version just knocks it way up to one of my best songs I've probably heard this year. But yeah, she killed it. That was the expectation. Even though I was a little bit worried, because I knew her specific style might not be to what I usually listen to. However, I'm very versatile, of course. For me to even be talking about this probably shows my versatility here. And she just knocked it out of the park. OTG has been a real grower. It's been a grower. Sometimes music, like I said, does that for me where I have to listen to it multiple times, and over time it gets better and it grows. And I think that's what On the Ground is. Gone, of course, is a home run right off the bat. Still Team Gone, but OTG definitely rising. Happy for Rosé. The performance was great. The music video was great. Saw on Inky, she did great. She's a phenomenal artist. Excited for the rest of her solo material, and of course excited for the rest of BP's material coming on later. That cover for Lisa though on I think El Korea, that was please come ruin my life. Please, respectfully. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the Champions League. Yes, it's time to go to the soccer world. Or once again, for my international viewers, football. Juve took on Porto. They won. They also drew. And they also lost in this game. Went to extra time. It was an incredible game. Probably the best game of the week, if I'm being honest. But Oliveira had the game of a lifetime for Porto. Had the goal earlier in the game, but then gets the game winner on the free kick. Ronaldo jumped away. If he'd have stood still, he'd have blocked it. Caught a lot of flack for that, which is ironic because I feel like Pirlo definitely probably should have got a little bit more flack than he's getting. But anyways, I get it. CR7, one of the best players of all time, possibly the best player of all time, certainly the greatest natural goal scorer of all time. Or excuse me, just the greatest goal scorer. I don't know why I said natural. Just the greatest goal scorer of all time. Caught a lot of flack for that one. Caught a lot of flack for that free kick. He responded against Calgary, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, with the hat trick in 32 minutes. So we get pissed off CR7 and the rest of the Serie A for the rest of the year. So that should be very entertaining. But UV bows out here to Porto. Great job for Porto. That's a great story. Michael Chiesa is a beast for Juventus. Him and Weston McKennie should solve some of those midfield and putting guys against around Ronaldo problems. Still need some stuff on that UV team though, for sure. I would be amiss if I didn't talk about Pepe and the performance he put on. One of the best performances I've seen from a defender ever. In my years of watching soccer, football, one of the best performances from a center back I've seen, even at his age. Pepe, absolute legend. Did it against one of his very good friends in Ronaldo. So, yeah, great stuff from Porto. Huge win. In a loss or in a draw, they get the win on aggregate. Dortmund took on Sevilla. They drew in this game. Of course, Dortmund advanced on aggregate because the machine. I mean, do I really, if I said Dortmund played and Dortmund scored, I need you to automatically at this point just assume that Erling, the machine, brought Holland, scored. Dude, he's a machine. He's a machine. They made him in a lab somewhere in Norway, and this was the result. Dude, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. He's going to be one of the best players in the world. He's going to be here for a while. Dude cannot stop scoring. He just cannot stop scoring goals. Jude Bellingham, I also have to say, I wish Dortmund could keep all their young talent. I did that for a FIFA career mode, which is this is super off topic. But I did that once. I kept all the young talent. Became pretty good. I think that was FIFA 18. Of course, I made some transfers and I got unrealistic. But anyways, enough about me. Back to actual Dortmund. Jude Bellingham, 17-year-old English midfielder, highly regarded. A lot of potential for Jude. Jude probably played the best game I think I've seen him play. He was all over box to box. He looked great in this game, of course. But yeah, Holland and Jude still a show. Dortmund does enough to get it done versus Sevilla. They advance. PSG played like absolute dirt. They just played awful. It was awful. It was awful. But Barca, Ousmane Dembele cannot finish. Cannot finish. He couldn't score the goal if it was 50 feet wide. I'm not sure if he would make it. He'd probably find a way to miss. Keylor Navas, big shout out to him. He won man of the match well deservedly. Had that penalty stop against Messi. There were some other questionable calls, I believe, in this game, but Barca didn't deserve the win. PSG gets it done on aggregate here. Mbappe also scored, because of course he scored. Scored that penalty. Thought that was a little shy whether it should have been a penalty or not. Same thing with the Messi penalty, but you know, it is what it is. PSG advances as expected. No return to this time. Barca does not have the firepower for that, though they did get their old president back. So we'll see if there's a change in fortune. We'll see if Messi stays, or if this was the last Champions League match Messi will ever have with Barcelona. That's another storyline. Liverpool, I literally said exactly what would happen in this Liverpool game. I said Salah and Mane, who scored just like they did in the first leg, I said they would be enough to get it done, and that's exactly what happened. I don't really need to talk bad shit about this game. Liverpool did what Liverpool did. Leipzig was never really a danger for them. They felt very comfortable, it seemed, so they get the win. And now for this week in the Champions League, we got the rest of the games here. Real Madrid taking on Atalanta. Eden Hazard. What a bust. What a bust. Dude cannot stay healthy, but alas, I still think I have Real Madrid here advancing. Man City versus McGladbach. Man City, I don't even really need to talk too much about that. They won super comfy, super duper comfy. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Bayern scoring 4 against Lazio and PSG also doing the same thing to Barca, they probably had the most comfortable win of any team so far in the Champions League here, and it was only 2-0. But of course, Man City, I got advancing. Bayern is the best club in the world. Don't even need to say too much about that. Hopefully Lazio puts up a fight. That would be fun to watch. But honestly, Lewandowski's best player on the planet right now. Nobody's more informed than him. Only dude scoring at his rate right now might be the machine. But, I mean, that's it. Chelsea versus Atletico, of course, is my matchup of the week. We'll see if Atletico and Simeone can pull it out. Only down by 1 here. Chelsea, however, under Thomas Tuchel, has not been beaten. Unbeaten since Tuchel came in. There's been a lot of talk about their lineups. But we'll see. Should be a very interesting week in Champions League once again. Hopefully we get the same excitement we had last week. And yeah, those are my predictions. You can tell me yours. And lastly, here on my notes, I'm only going to talk really briefly because if I'm being completely honest, there's nothing really happening in the NBA this week. I honestly probably could have put this in the roundup, but nothing. I mean, it was a really boring week. I mean, it was the first week after the All-Star game, so I mean, it's usually not too much crazy happening. I mean, the most significant story that happened didn't even happen in game. It was Miles Leonard being anti-Semitic and that whole fallout. Which, I mean, just stupid for him. Not that with him, his punishment was stupid, but what Miles did was stupid. You just gotta be more aware of what you're doing and what you're surrounding and what you're saying. And that's all I'm really gonna say about that. Anthony Edwards had 34 yesterday against Portland. That was his career high. Ant-Man continues to look and improve. I know a lot of people have been giving him flack about being the #1 overall pick. But eventually, long term, of course, LaMelo's been Rookie of the Year so far. But honestly, Edwards has not looked bad. He's showing the potential, showing why he was the #1 overall pick. Especially with games like this, and he's looked better over the season. Eventually, I think he could definitely justify being the #1 overall pick in this draft. And yeah, it would be cool to see him follow the rest of his development, the rest of his season. Golden State and Utah played. Golden State got the win 131-119. Of course, I want to talk about this game because Rudy Gobert played probably the best game that he's played ever. 24 points and 28 rebounds, which is nuts. However, Steph had 32. Wiggins had 28. Draymond had a triple-double. Classic Golden State. They get the win here over the top team in the league. And yeah, we'll see if Utah, see how they do here in the second half. Had a great first half. They were my team of the first half, as I told last week, right before at the buzzer. And we'll see. We'll see what happens for the Jazz for the rest of the year. See how that goes down. But yeah, super brief NBA section. Not much to talk about here. But yeah, what else? Yeah, with the G League over now, and yeah, it was a dry week in the NBA, but hopefully it's a lot more exciting next week. But nonetheless, that was it. I know Zion also had a big performance, so shout out to my Pelicans fans. Hopefully he might be in some All NBA selection teams, I think, this year. With the season he's having and how well he's been playing for quite a bit, he's kind of really stepped it up. We'll see what that Pelicans team can do. They've gotten a lot better over the course of the season, so we'll see what happens. But that was the NBA for the week. We have reached at the buzzer. And to start off here for the week, my boy Raheem wanted me to talk about the DK situation at Clemson and a little bit more of college football. DK, we talked about 2 weeks ago, 2 episodes ago. Talked about that situation with the gun. Well, it wasn't a gun at the time, but now we know as he got arrested this past week. Gun charge, drugs, also included in that arrest. Again, hate it for him. Not a good sign for where his mental is at right now. Hope he gets the help. Hope he gets it together because once again, talent is there. Just gotta put it together. We knew something was up for him to get kicked out of Clemson because that just doesn't happen. Yeah, just an unfortunate situation for everybody involved. Hopefully he can get it together, but yeah, you hate to see something like that to a player to DK and a guy in his situation. Yeah, just hope he gets the help he needs. In 2022, Ohio State has been king so far, and so far what I've talked about, Ohio State has been the team I've talked about. But, ladies and gentlemen, Alabama once again, I mean, what did we expect? But Alabama is back at it again, ladies and gentlemen. They went out and got the number 28th and 5-star number 28th ranked player in the country, 5-star running back Emmanuel Henderson, because what Alabama needs more of is 5-star skill players. Not like they don't have a million of them already, but they continue to filter them through as they get Emmanuel Henderson, who will probably develop into a monster. Nick Saban, I mean, what can we say? What can we say at this point, ladies and gentlemen? What can we say? Nick Saban, considered probably the greatest of all time, greatest coach of all time for a reason. Recruiting does it again. I mean, they just continue to get talent after talent after talent after talent after talent, especially at that running back position. Even the 5-stars they don't get, they turn into 5-star level talents, like a guy like Josh Jacobs. So, I mean, Emmanuel Henderson, can't wait to see you in New York one day, fighting for a Heisman Trophy or winning the national championship and going in the first round. I'm sure he has a very, very, very bright future. But yeah, Alabama starting to make noise in that 2022 class, picked up Ty Simpson as well. Looking like they might be able to contend with Ohio State. Ohio State had that early claim on, oh, we're going to have the best class ever. But hey, Alabama might be able to make some noise here. And yeah, 2022 getting a lot more interesting here as we get closer and closer to them becoming the main, source of recruiting news. And now with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. We're almost done with this episode. I have a rather big Roundup though, so let's get straight to it. NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships were this past weekend. Had some very interesting stuff. Oregon wins for the men. Arkansas wins again. I mean, I don't know how many in a row this is, but it's at least, I feel like 3 in a row, maybe 4. Counting indoor and outdoor titles for their women's program is just outrageous. For Oregon, freshman Michael Williams won the 60, but the big 3 right there in that middle distance/distance run, Cooper Tier, Cole Hoker, who won the mile and the 3K, and Charlie Hunter won the 800. They've been incredible. All 3 of them honestly could be in Bowerman contention. They've been phenomenal this year and really spearheaded that Oregon team. Matt Bowling, we talked about him a couple times over the course of this past season for the indoor. He wins the 200 in a very, very close race against Terrence Lard, who had been the college leader at the moment. But Bowling gets it done. And he could have been faster, if I'm being honest, watching that race. If he fixes a couple things on how he closes, he could have went even faster. Very excited about his outdoor prospects and how he does there. Let's see, Abby Snyder put on for Kentucky. A lot of talk. I think she broke the collegiate record or got very close in the 200 meter there. Giveon Harrison. Oh my goodness, for LSU, won the long jump and won the high jump. First man to do the double, and I think maybe the second man over to do the double. First time in a long time at the very least. Looks like he's a very, very special talent. A lot of good stuff in the indoor track. I know we got wrestling coming up, so those winter sports kind of closing up. Have some very good storylines going on there. I have to give a rest in peace, a big rest in power to the great, marvelous Marvin Hagler, one of the Fab Four of boxing in the 80s. One of the greatest boxers of all time. Looked very, very healthy. He's only 66 years old. Yeah, I hate to see it. Don't know exactly what it was now yet, or right now what the cause was, but sad for boxing. It was a sad day for boxing. One of the greatest of all time, like I said. If you haven't watched the Fab Four fights, I was on the Fix not too long ago. Definitely go watch those. His fight versus Thomas Hearns is possibly the best fight ever, not too long as well. So in fact, after this video, go and watch that. It's on YouTube. You will be indebted to me. That's how good that fight is. One of the best ever. So exciting, so brutal. But yeah, very good stuff. Rest in peace to the great Marvin Hagler. Connor McDavid is the first man to 50 points here in the NHL. Him and Dry, again, have still been killing it. The Oilers haven't been too great, but McDavid and Dry looking like two of the best players on the planet. McDavid, of course, widely considered the best player on the planet. He's a generational talent, and we'll see exactly why. Probably got the Art Rice pretty much real in tuck. I don't know if anybody's going to pass him because, I mean, he still contributes the most to Dry's points. So when Dry scores, it seems like McDavid scores. But yeah, great stuff from him. We'll see if Oilers can get on track here and possibly make some noise. With talent like that, you got to get something going. I said that when I talked about them previously. But yeah, they got to figure something out. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, one of the big news of the week was Drew Brees has retired. We saw it coming. But the face of the New Orleans Saints and their greatest player ever, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, Drew Brees, has called it quits. Most yards in NFL history. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. Most completions in NFL history. Second most touchdowns in NFL history. Super Bowl champ, 13-time Pro Bowl, one-time All-Pro, comeback player of the year. The greatest free agent signing of all time, Drew Brees. Absolute legend. Sad to see him go. We could talk about whatever, how you feel about him, but what a man, what a player. Saints, hate to see him go, but what a legacy he leaves behind. Nobody will ever wear the 9 again. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 32. Hope you enjoyed watching. Again, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, if you enjoyed today's episode. Very entertaining week we have headed up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's March. It's going to get mad out here. It's going to get very mad. It's going to get very chaotic and very entertaining for us, the audience, and viewers, to all of the greatness that this time of the year can bring in the various sports, but of course especially in the NCAA Tournament. But yeah, of course my social media links are in the description or at the end of this video, which you might as well stay for at this point. But yeah, hope you guys have a great week. Hope you had a great week last week. Again, NCAA Tournament time. Ocho, signing off.